खंडमंडलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनं शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। First, a little bit of formalities. I am very happy that we have Professor O.L. Nagbhushan Swami as our chief guest. Sri Arvind Ballad, the MLA of Hubli, Dharwad, is also here. In a couple of days we developed a good friendship. Thank you for being here. Then we have Dr. Niranjan and Srimati Padmalata from the SDM, the Dharmasthala institutions. We had a lovely time yesterday on the way from your place. Thank you very much for looking after our yatris also there. And my good friend Dr. Ajay Kumar Singh and Shri Achyut Rao and other dignitaries who are in front of me, also who are hiding behind the wings, and dear friends. Unfortunately, I can understand Kannada, but it is difficult for me to speak in Kannada. Unfortunately, you must excuse me for that. I thought I will have somebody to translate, but the person who translates seems to have disappeared today because she translated the book. So I will talk in English if you don't mind. About the walk of hope, there is nothing much to be said because you have seen the films. It's there in the notice, it's in the newspapers, so I'm sure most of you have read and understood why we are walking. But there is a genesis to it. There is something because of which this is taking place. Professor Nagbhushan nicely put it that there is an outer walk and an inner walk. For me, the genius of this walk starts with an inner experience. I'm not doing it either to become well known or to join any political party or any such thing. All these things I have thought about and discarded long ago. I'm walking because there is an inner urge to translate what I feel inside into action. It's very as simple as that. And the inner experience I had, first, what my Guru Babaji said, and two, what I have learned from him. Why I said, once upon a time, many, many years ago, when we were sitting on the banks of the river in Uttarkashi, he said to me, you will have to walk from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. This was like a bombshell because he never talked about such things. So I said, Babaji, normally you say Upanishad, meditate more, walk in, let's go from this cave to that cave, and today you're saying you have to walk from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. So I said, I'm not going to do this. You must understand, when a true guru or a true teacher has a lot of space for dissidence. He doesn't say, okay, you do. So he asked me why. I said, because I am not, my nature is not to go into public. I like to be in solitude, not walk in public. He said, but if I say, will you do it? Then he reminded me that some years ago, when he asked me, what do you think of yourself with regard to me? I said, I am your dog. He said, then you said, yes. When he said, then it is better that you do what I say. And when I said I am his dog, he also said, don't shake your tail too much. Dum zyada mat hilana, I said. So that I always remember when I talk too much, I remember dum zyada mat hilana. I was reading this little book of the Mukundur Swami, which Professor Nagabhushan has translated into English. I wish I could have read the Kannada. He was a simple villager living somewhere, I don't know the exact place in Karnataka near Chitradurga somewhere. One day he was pressed and forced to give a talk in a gathering. So he talked. Then it became dark. He came to know that it became dark only when somebody lit a lamp. So people were also absorbed, he was also absorbed. So when someone lit a lamp and brought it, he realized that it has gone dark. So he gave one shot on his right thigh and said, "You're talking too much, that's enough," and got up and ran off. There are very few people like that. It's a rare thing. What happened was, when he ran off, people also ran behind him. That was a different story. This nowadays we come to understand in this walk that when you're trying to run, people try to catch your feet. So you usually avoid tumbling down. I have tumbled once. So I decided not to wag my tail too much. But this, that you should walk from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, was in my mind for many years. Not only that, he also said, many people will walk with you. I'm talking about when I was 22 years old. Now I'm 66. So a few years ago I said, I have done many of the things that Babaji said. Most of the things. I may not have done some, but most of the things. And one of the things which he said I should do, and I did after a great deal of reluctance, was to write the autobiography. Before the autobiography came out, first in English, I was living very peacefully in Madanapalli. Few people used to come. There was no guest house. I used to cook for them. Many people are still there who enjoyed my dal and rice. Then came the autobiography. Now Babaji has said, write it. So I couldn't help. I had to do it at some point. Once the autobiography was out, the circus started. Now I don't know whether I am the director of the circus or the performing clown. I'm in the middle of it. You see this? So this is what happens. So when this walk was in my mind, I was thinking how to do it, when to do it, delaying it, postponing it as much as I can. Then the children grew up and they looked after themselves. They were about to. And then I said to myself, if I don't walk now at 66, this will never happen. I won't be able to walk physically. So 3 years ago, the idea that I should at least do it in a couple of years came into my mind. I discussed it. Once I planned it, then I dropped it. Then again, the idea came into my head. And a very good friend of mine, I don't want to name because he also doesn't want to, anonymous. When I told him that I am going to walk, he didn't ask me why, how, what. He said, I am also coming. Count me in, whatever happens. And within 3 years, a number of people came, especially the young. You know, you can't do anything without the young. Even if you are physically old, your heart should be young, otherwise you can't do anything. Now, actually, physically young people came forward and said, don't worry, sir, we will organize this. Now, to organize this is dangerous, but still they did. Why I am saying this is that I am not much of an organizer. I can inspire people, but I cannot organize. It is not my cup of tea. But some of the young people who are very good at organizing came forward, and this is the result. that on 12th of January 2015, on Swami Vivekananda's birth anniversary, we started from Kanyakumari. We have covered almost 1,800 kilometers now, and we have to do maybe another 5,000 kilometers to reach Srinagar on April 2016. And you are looking at us, at me and the walkers. We are none the worse for it. We are fine. Thank you. Now, initial blisters all gone. Now we are walking steadily on. This is only because of the blessings of great beings, especially my Guru, Maheshwarnath Babaji. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for me to do it. And believe me, wherever I go, wherever we go, there is very good response from people, from which I believe that every human being actually wants it. Every human being wants that people should live together. But due to various circumstances, and also because they are busy doing things, they are not able to express it in public. Since I am a jobless man, I count myself as one of the jobless millions. I decided, let me do this job. So, when I walk around, I see people saying, we agree with you that your humanity should be one. Nobody wants to fight. We want to live together. But somebody has to say it, and you are saying it, and you are walking, and we are with you. This is very encouraging. It's not as if it is lost. It's still there. The seeds of humanity, the seeds of human unity are still in our hearts, especially in this country, which for hundreds of thousands of years has welcomed people from all over the world without discriminating against anybody. Look at our history. Look at our history. This is Bharat. And when the rishis said about happiness, they did not say happiness of a few or happiness of a limited community. They said, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. Not even this country. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. Sarve Shantu Niramaya. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kaschit Dukhapat Bhavet. And they also said, Loga Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Now this is very important to note. But this message would be wonderful if it goes from this country. Because this country is known for its unity. And the unity starts from the understanding and spiritual experience that basically, coming down to the roots, we are sparks of the divine. If you can think of divinity as such huge fire, the little sparks that come out of it are our individual consciousness. This is an experience of the rishis, which we can also, if we have the blessings of a teacher, and ready to go, not to get back in the face of obstacles, can surely progress to this understanding. There is no doubt about this. I don't think that only some people are destined to find the truth. That's not true. We need to put in effort. Of course we need blessing. There is no doubt about that. So for me, it is out of that experience of spiritual unity, that we are all sparks of the same divine. Deep down us, there is a consciousness which is pure and sacred. And therefore, every human being, every living being, why human being, who is walking around is a walking temple of God. Other temples we can build with rock and cement and mortar. But these temples are the real temples which breathe, which eat, which love, which shake hands with us. Here are the temples which are the real temples. And therefore the worship of humanity is the greatest spiritual work that one can do. And when you say, I want to be spiritual, don't think that if you simply sit down and close your eyes, you will become spiritual. The cat closes his eyes thinking that the whole world is in darkness. The world is not in darkness, only the cat's eyes are in darkness. In Malayalam, in Tamil, they say, Pune kannai mudi kondal bhulogam irandu povuma. The cat closes his eyes, will the whole world become dark? No. So if you close your eyes, will you directly go to the truth? Because your eyes are closed, but your mind is wandering. Now the only way to calm and tranquilize your mind, even to find the truth as a personal experience, is through good work. It's when Swami Vivekananda started the Ramakrishna Mission, he said, you guys are not going to meditate 24 hours a day. Do some good work. You do some good work and purify your mind, then the base for sitting down and meditating will be created. Otherwise, we will be lost in knowing theories. We will think we have read so much, therefore we know all about the truth. De-learning is the most important part in finding the truth. No words, I liked what he said, no words can actually describe it. The Kena Upanishad says, Yad vajana abhyutitam menavag abhyutyate tadeva brahmatvam vidvi nedam yadidam upasate. It's a very striking statement. Nothing that you worship her, but that which even words cannot describe. Now, love is something that words actually cannot describe. We use the English word love, pyar, prem. These are mere words to express something which is inexpressible. And when there is love and affection, there is no business of give and take. I love because I will get something. What kind of love is that? When the mother loves the child, she doesn't expect anything from the child. It's just love. So therefore, the central point, what I am trying to say, is welfare of all living beings, as the Gita declares. Sarva bhuta hite rata. With the welfare of all living beings in your heart. And to worship the divine in all the living creatures that you see. Don't forget human beings in that. I know people who feed sugar to ants but forget about human beings. Human beings are the most developed of the animals. So please don't forget. When you say serve God and other living beings, please include humans in that. If we live a life that way, then it is also possible to meditate. It is also possible to move forward in your spiritual directions. Which is why there are many people who have taken many initiations and they say we can't meditate. Why? Because your day-to-day life is not set in a spiritual pattern. I can't say I will murder, I will drink, I will do what, and still meditate for half an hour daily and reach. This is not possible. There are people who lie 24 hours a day and they want to find the absolute truth. Is this possible? Please tell me. It is not possible. So, yama niyamas, your daily living is most important. And all you have to think of the other before you think of yourself. When we started from Kanyakumari, that land's end is called 0 point. So I told our friends, let us start as zeros. We don't know. Somebody asked, will you succeed? We don't know. But that should not prevent us from making an honest effort to find the truth. So, this is so very important that we think of others as more important than we are. This is the beginning of spiritual understanding, because then we become empty, we become zero. And unless your cup is empty, how can you understand anything? Not you, me also. There's a story about a man who went to a Zen monk to understand Zen. You know what is Zen? Everybody, it's become fashionable now because it has imported from Japan. Zen Buddhism. Malayalam, we have a saying, Muttatte mullekku manamilla. That means the jasmine in your own garden doesn't smell good. But when it is Zen, it is much more interesting because it has come from Japan. Made in Japan is a big brand. Actually, Zen Buddhism started from Bodhidharma, who was a Buddhist monk from the south of India, who carried a particular variety of meditation called Dhyana Buddhism into China. In the Chinese language, you cannot say Dhyan. It becomes Chan. When it went to Japan, it became Zen. Bodhidharma didn't go to Japan. He stayed only in China. This is Zen. So one person one very learned professor who had studied everything that he could think of, went to meet a Zen master. So he told him, I have come from a very long distance. Please teach me Zen, or teach me how to attain Satori. Satori is like Samadhi. Satori. So the master said, first have some tea. So this man thought, I have asked him a very serious question and he says, have some tea. But Zen masters are famous. If you refuse, they might give you a shot. So he kept quiet, like some of the avadutas. So the master made tea, put the cup on the table. You know, for Japanese, everything is ceremonial. So tablecloth, special cup, poured the tea. The cup became full and continued to flow. So the tea came out and it was dripping down from the tablecloth. After a while, the professor shouted, Sir, the tea is overflowing. So the Zen master told the professor, your cup is overflowing. How can I give you Zen? You understand? Space is required. And for that, the ego has to be removed for space. And all your practices. Otherwise, if you can find the truth by simply sitting and breathing up and down. Kabir said, Jadad prem na sanchare, so that jaan smashan, jaise khal luhar ki saans let bin pran, which means the bellows of a blacksmith, they also breathe. They have no pran inside. So you can also breathe up and down, but can we find the truth? In that case, all machines which can breathe will find the truth. Pumps, not possible. The mind has to be purified. First, the pretense that we know has to go. We have to start at zero. And if we start at zero, then it is possible to reach the big zero, which Basavanna called Shunya. Or Alama Prabhu said Shunya. Shunya is not nothing. It is that which we cannot describe with our limited understanding. That is what is Shunya. Which means nothing of the physical world. Nothing that we can define. Unfortunately, from childhood we are taught to define. So if we can open that. So now just see how it is connected to our daily life. We define human beings. Oh, he is this, he is a Hindu, he is a Muslim, he is a Christian. That definition has to cease before we realize the inner essence. This is the outer manifestation. The inner manifestation is that all definitions has to finally go before we discover that which cannot be defined. Therefore they called it Shunya. Buddha, today is Buddha Purnima. Buddha called the supreme state of nirvana as Shunyata. But that Shunyata is not nothing. I have had various discussions with very senior Buddhist monks. I say Shunyata means the final, nirvana means the final extinguishing of the fires of desire and selfishness. That's all. Then what remains? You cannot define, I cannot define. So therefore they called it Shunya. You can call it Purna if you like, no harm. Purnamada, Purnamidam, that completeness is that Shunya. For that first we have to need space here. I have to become before I understand that. Now before I wind up, I want to tell you two stories. One story is from a great Sufi saint, a Sufi teacher, whose name was Jalaluddin Rumi. I'm sure many people have heard of Jalaluddin Rumi. Rumi was the one who wrote the beautiful Masnavi, poems called Masnavi. He is also the founder of the Order of the Whirling Dervishes. If you go to Turkey, you will see this dervishes whirling around with small music. This whirling is very interesting. This Jagat, or this world, is called Jagat because it is Jagatyam. Jagatyam means that which moves. This is another word for Jagatyam. Anybody can guess? Jangama. When it is still, it is Thavara. When it is moving, it is Jangam. So, Rumi said, physically and psychologically, when the body moves, in the center of it there is the peaceful, no movement point. So he taught the whirling dervish. Now he has a beautiful story, which was also a very favorite story of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. I loved this story. It's about 4 blind men who went to find out an elephant, how an elephant looks like. Blind. One person touched the trunk of the elephant and said, elephant is like a big pillar which occasionally moves and very rough to touch. The other blind man touched the tail of the elephant and said, it's like a huge brush. Every now and then the sharp bristles touch you if you go near. The third blind man touched the trunk of the elephant and decided that an elephant is like a huge rubber hose which swings up and down and occasionally brings air out. Pss, pss. The fourth touched the ear of the elephant and said an elephant is like a huge, what is it called, the sieve that they use for rice, soup, which flaps every now and then. There was a big fight to decide what is the correct definition of an elephant. Believe me, all the 4 cannot see, they can only feel. Then comes a man who can actually see. They are at each other's throats. One fellow is down, the other fellow is sitting up. This is the definition of an elephant. So this man says, stop it, because I can see the elephant. Why are you fighting about it? Then he says, you're right. You're also right. You're also right. You're also right. But ultimately you're all wrong, because the elephant is much more than you can see. I see it. This is what I see about the elephant. What he sees about the elephant may be different. But the elephant is all these and much more than all this. Therefore, the supreme reality is much more than any of our definitions, and therefore, humanity, which is a spark of the divine, is much more than anything that you can define. Much more. So if we start not putting humanity into these small brackets and definitions, we can free ourselves and live together as one humanity. This is my belief. For that, first I have to start thinking that I free myself first. If I don't free myself, what can I free outside? If my mind doesn't change, what can I preach to the outside world? Nothing. It would be hypocrisy to do that. So therefore, this is to be remembered, that ultimately we are all one. In essence, we are all born from a mother's womb, and only the mother knows how much pain is suffered. Nobody knows. Fathers don't know. Every child is born from a womb. Or do you know anybody who has fallen from the roof? After that, you may become Anthony or Rashid or Hari. But you all come from the same womb. And where do we go? Into the same earth. So therefore, in this short period called life, can we live without hurting others, without killing each other, without uttering lies for no reason whatsoever, without stealing others' properties, without hating others, without letting anger take hold of you. Anger, when it comes, is like setting fire to your own house. Actually, nothing happens to the other fellow, your house burns. And also can we live considering ourselves as the lowest of the low, which we are. Compared to this entire universe, we are just specks of dirt. Can we think, now all these things I said are not my own, they are from the Vachanas. People who have read will know. So all great beings, all great saints, all great philosophers have understood this, but we have to again and again keep reminding. When people forget, some mad fellow comes and says, remember. And I think that is what we are doing. Walking in the hot sun, behaving like madmen. As we go along, is going to increase. Somebody said it is already 42 in Maharashtra. But then we have to do it. And somebody has to bear the cross. Let us bear the cross. And if people can understand this unity, it will be wonderful. Now, before I wind up, one more story. I said two. I said only one more story. Now, this is a story, very interesting, which I like it so much that I keep on saying everywhere. This is a story which I picked up from one of the heads of a matha as we were passing into Karnataka. He went and stayed for 2 nights at the Sirigiri Mutt. There is the Swamiji of the Tarlabalu Mutt, I think Dr. Shivacharya. So we had a satsang, private satsang. I wanted to be. He said, I am also coming for the satsang. The satsang was intended for our padiyatris. I am also coming. Somebody came and told me, Swamiji is also sitting for. I said, now I have to be careful what I am saying. I was actually in a little bit of a warlike mode with our group. So then we talked good things. And he insisted on sitting there. So I said, no, finally they convinced him to sit down. So after the satsang, I asked him, do you have anything to say? So he said one or two few things and he told me a story. Everybody was there. It is a very interesting story. It kind of hits the nail on the crux of the situation. He said, the story is that there was a Shilpi, was a great expert Shilpi who could make anything he wanted. He was invited to a temple to make some murti. Now the temple priest happened to be a good astrologer or palmist or something. So he told him, your shilpas are all fine, but after 2 months you are going to die. That's what I see. So this man said, is there some way to get out of this? He said, there is one way, which is, you are such a good Shilpi, you go to your workshop on that day, that time. Make Shilpas from now onwards, which look exactly like you. Duplicates. You are so good, nobody can make out the original and the duplicate. Make a dozen of them and you stand in the middle. Yamaduta comes on a buffalo, he has no brains. I didn't say that, Swamiji said. So he will come and look around. And he won't be able to guess who is the original. So he will go back. So once you have passed that, there is nothing to worry. This man went and stood there, made the Shilpas. So the Yamaduta came and looked around. And he said, can't make out. He went back. Yama said, what happened? Sorry sir, I can't make out who is the man. Okay. He said, now don't give up. 3 weeks later, again one more time is coming for him and he's likely to die. That time you go there and bring him. But he said, but he will do the same thing. I cannot bring him. He said, no. It's a very simple thing, you fool, he told him. He's a human being, right? Yes. Okay. You go there. And just praise all the Shilpas that are there. All the statues and images he has made, you just go and don't ask who is the original, simply praise them. So the Yamaduta went and he stood there and started, oh, what a wonderful Shilpa. Oh, what a wonderful. After a second, this man said, I am the one who made it. He said, come, let's go. This is the problem. If we can get out of this, we are free. Even death cannot touch us. I mean, this is just a story. So please keep this in mind. Now, all of us who are here, like Professor Nagbhushan said, even if you are not walking with us physically, please put your hearts into our walk. Internally, please walk with us. Because I am sure, I feel, and therefore I think as human beings have common feelings, you also feel, that it's a good thing that is being done. It's not me doing, good things that are being done. So many people are with us. If you can't physically walk, please walk with us in your minds. And if you can physically walk, even if you walk for 10 minutes with us, or one day or half an hour, it would be a wonderful thing to do. Because any good work can be accomplished only when people come together. The old Rigvedic sloka, Sangachatvam, Gachatvam means walk. Sangachatvam, Samvedatvam, Samvo Manam Sijanatam. With our minds put together, we can understand. With our minds put together, we can learn. With walking together, we can walk. So, this is my appeal. Please walk with us as much as you can. If you cannot walk with us, please pray for us and walk with us in your minds, because it's meant for all of us. It's not meant for any small section of humanity. Please have your differences of opinion. Please open dialogues. Please have different ideologies. You belong to different religions. Garden has many flowers. There's not one flower, many flowers. But let the breeze of non-violence and humanity blow through it, so that we get a combination of the perfumes of all the flowers put together and be as one humanity. This is my appeal. Tomorrow we start at 5:30. Thank you very much. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. My namaskaras and salams to all of you. Thank you very much once again.